We'll now take a look at the adhesive bonding method and how easy it makes the replacement of a rear quarter panel. All necessary trim removal has been carried out and the spot welds revealed. The welds are removed with an 8mm drill. Using an air saw, cuts are made at the C post and the D post. After separating the panel with a bolster chisel, it can be removed. A P80 disc is attached to the rotary sander and the old welds are cleaned off. On the rear flange, where there's a risk of shearing in an impact, spot welds will be used. To fix the new panel to the D post and sill, MIG welds are required and MIG run welds are needed for the two butt joints. Because this flange will be spot welded, it has been prepared on both sides. Elsewhere, time savings are achieved as only the outer edge must be prepared. The new panel is similarly prepared with a bristle disc. Again, only the inner flange requires preparation in the bonded areas. A purple Scotch-Brite pad is used in areas where access with a power tool would be awkward. The new panel has now been offered up and clamped in position. The tailgate and door gaps are then checked. The new and original panels are cut through together with an air saw to make an accurate butt joint at the C and D posts. Weld-through-2 coating is applied to all areas on both the car and the new panel where MIG plug or spot welding will be carried out. This will improve corrosion resistance. The panel is then offered up again. Holes are drilled at the joints with the sill, rear panel and D post. A self-tapping screw is screwed into each hole and then removed. These screws will be important in the alignment of the panel when it's finally positioned with the adhesive applied. All the flanges on the car and new panel are cleaned with general-purpose adhesive cleaner to remove any remaining contaminants. "3M8115 panel bonding adhesive is a two-part epoxy-based product with a working time of 90 minutes. The cure rate can be accelerated with a heat source, such as an infrared lamp. A check is made that the material is being mixed in the correct proportions as it's extruded from the nozzle. The adhesive can be used on all common substrates, steels, aluminium and automotive plastics. A bead is applied around the prepared panel edge. Because of its continuous contact with the bonded surfaces, it seals and bonds, reducing the risk of corrosion. Furthermore, it contains a built-in corrosion inhibitor pigment. When the first bead has been applied in all areas to be bonded, it's tooled out with a plastic spreader to cover the bare metal areas. The adhesive has also been applied to the flanges on the vehicle and tooled out. A second bead is then applied. Bonding reduces the need for stripping trim, which could be damaged by welding or cause a fire hazard. The risk of panel distortion and the need for the noisy, time-consuming grinding of MIG plugs is much reduced. Where spot welding is no longer necessary, surface appearance is also much improved. A second bead is not required on the vehicle. The new panel is offered up for the final time and clamped in position. Glass beads are incorporated into the formulation to maintain a bond line and prevent the adhesive from being squeezed out during clamping. The self-tapping screws are then screwed in at the D post, the rear panel joint and the sill panel joint. The two butt joints at the C post and D post are both tacked in preparation for MIG run welding. MIG plug welds have been used at the D posts and sill panel joints. When the welds have been carried out in each area where a self-tapping screw was used, the screw is removed and replaced with a MIG plug weld. Finally, the rear flange is spot welded, leaving only the MIG tacks to be ground off and the MIG run weld carried out. On a quarter panel, adhesive should be applied to the lower edge, the wheel arch, the door aperture areas of the quarter, and at the factory seam of the C-post. The rear vertical portion of the quarter should be welded, as should the butt joint across the C-post. For roof panels, adhesive should be applied around the perimeter and at any roof supports. On a van or sport utility vehicle side, adhesive should be applied to the top and lower edges, wheel arches, forward edge, around the window, and fuel filler area if required. The rear vertical portion of the panel should be welded.